evening and welcome to our Smyrna Town Council workshop for February to set our agenda for our March council meeting. Before we move into our presentation tonight, I'm going to ask Mark Adkins to do our prayer. And Todd, will you do our pledge, please? If you all stand with us.
Let's pray. Father, we just come to you today, Lord, again, thankful, just grateful for another day, to have good health and to have a wonderful town in Smyrna. Father, we ask that you continue to watch over those that serve this town, all of the employees of our town, all of our police and fire departments who go out and risk their lives many times to keep us safe. We also pray for our citizens. And Father, right now we know there's a lot of discourse in the town. Father, we are aware of that. My prayer to you tonight is that we continue to watch and keep civility and that we continue to do the right thing for our town. Be with this council tonight as they deliberate the business of our town. Be with the leaders of our town. Continue to watch over each and every one of us and our families as we continue to try to serve. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So tonight we have TDOT here with us for a presentation, and I know that we all have been looking forward to this. And Brian, I will turn it over to you at this point.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It is a great privilege to have our friends from TDOT with us tonight. I know the mayor and I have had the opportunity to visit with them recently on a couple of occasions about some of the things going on with choice lanes and some of the issues that we're having on some of our interstate interchanges. I do know that there's one safety issue that has garnered a lot of attention here in town, and that's the Lowry Street Jefferson Pike project. So we have asked Jay Norris, who is the Assistant Chief Engineer for Middle Tennessee Region and the Region Director, to come visit with us, and also Hunter Dykes, who is the TDOT District Manager for this district. And they will be here to present some information for our community. And I told them, not only the folks here tonight in the audience, but we will be televising this live on Facebook and on our YouTube channel. And it'll be playing on our Channel 3 PEG channel, so the community will be able to hear this information firsthand as well. So, Jay, I appreciate you being here, appreciate the partnership that we have with you and the work that we do together. Invite you to come to the podium, and I think we've got your presentation loaded up.
Very good. Can y'all hear me okay?
You can.
Very good, Mayor. Council members, it's good to be here. I want to echo, Brian, what you said is that I'm thankful for the partnership that we have with the town of Smyrna. I grew up, I was born in Murfreesboro, raised in Murfreesboro. Spent quite a bit of time in Smyrna in my youth. My parents moved out to off Highway 96 in Rucker Lane on the other side of the county when I was 3 years old, 1978. And at that time, you could turn off a Rucker on the 96 and go all the way to Broad Street, and there were no signals. And I think Smyrna probably had a similar feel, and I think we would all agree that we can't do that anymore. And there's a lot of growth in this county. It's incredible. I'm in the county frequently. My parents still live in Murfreesboro, and so there is a tremendous growth in this area. I think I most recently saw. Rutherford County is leading the nation, top 25, I believe, is that. So I think that's one of the reasons we're here is to talk about that growth. So there was a study, I guess U-Haul does a annual report on the most one-way trips, drop-off locations, and Tennessee scored number 5 in the nation in one-way U-Hauls, which is interesting way to track growth, but I think we would all agree that we're feeling that, and that's a real challenge for us. And so that happens here. So I live in Franklin, I live in Williamson County. We feel it there. I know it's happening here. Montgomery County, for example, on the north side of Nashville, is feeling it as well. But I have friends in Knoxville, Cokeville, Bolivar, Jackson, a lot of rural communities across the state, and they're feeling it too. And so Tennessee has the blessing of growth, but we also have the challenge of managing that growth. And so that's a good thing. And so another challenge the department is facing, that would be the first, is the age of our infrastructure. The interstate system was built in the mid-60s. If it is a person, it is hitting the age of Medicare. And I think it would have a lot of doctor's visits and co-pays and figuring out Part D every year. And so we have a lot of age on our system, and so that's another challenge for us that we're facing. The third thing's not really a challenge, but it really constrains us in how we want to operate, is that, so if I hit, there we go, is that Tennessee does not have any debt related to transportation. We've never borrowed $1, which is a great thing, but we're not going to borrow money either. So that fiscally constrains us. And the other side of that is I don't think there's an appetite to raise gas tax, and so that constrains us. And so when you lay all these things out, you have to have a new way of thinking. And so that's one of the things I want to share with you tonight is the Transportation Modernization Act and what it did. So it did three things for us. Is it gave authorization for public-private partnerships. It gave the ability for TDOT to negotiate and go into agreements for those. It gave electric vehicle car registration parity. I think we all know that we're funded by gas tax. EVs don't buy gas, so they don't pay to use the system. And I think we had a fee of $100 a year. And over the next 3 years, that's going to be raised up to $273 a year. So there'll be parity if you drive a Tesla or anything of that nature. And the good thing about it is that's tied to inflation going forward, so that we don't have to go back and raise the fee on that EV in the future. So that we're excited that problem is solved for us. And the third thing, which you can see on the slide here, is this bill gave the department $3.3 billion to help fund our infrastructure building in Tennessee. So $300 million of that was given to our county system, our state aid system, county roads that touch state routes. And that was about 15 years worth of budget for them, which is a big win. But the remaining $3 billion was divided across the 4 regions. We're in Region 3 at $750 million each. And we had till December to talk about how we were going to spend those dollars. So you can see a breakdown of that here. I apologize. So in December, we committed to get our legislature a list of how we're going to spend the $3 billion. But what we did on top of that is we developed a 10-year plan on how we were going to spend our dollars for the next 10 years. And so that was something new that we haven't done before. And so if you look at our $1.2 billion construction program year over year times 10 years, that's $12 billion, plus the $3 billion we got from the Transportation Modernization Act is $15 billion. And so on top of that, we will also have around $6 billion to spend on multimodal transportation assets. Most of that is through the IIJA. So that is really what I want to talk to you guys now about, is our 10-year program. So this is the change in the way we've normally done business. And so to look at this, we created a rubric, an algorithm, a way of thinking to prioritize projects. And it was everything from urban congestion projects, economic development, Improve Act, acceleration projects from the 2015 Improve Act, rural interstate widenings, with a focus on state of good repair, asset management, and then the last thing is our statewide partnership program. So we put that all through a filter with some guiding principles, and on the other side of that, we developed a 10-year plan. So the good news is we went from 1,000 projects in development to roughly 92. And so these are our large widening projects that are very expensive capital overlays. And the good thing about that is for us in the department is we have a development staff that was trying to spin plates on 1,000 projects. That's hard to do. This was able to give them focus and clarity on what to work for, so we're excited about that for our staff. And the good news is it shows everybody what we're working on. And so that also is good. So if you haven't seen the 10-year plan, you can find it online. You can easily Google it right now, TDOT 10-year plan. You'll see the list. And here's a graphic of it. We have different colors here, which I really won't go into. And these talk about the large transportation projects that are going to happen in Middle Tennessee area in the next 10 years. The thing that is not on here is our programmatic projects. So think paving, resurfacing projects, bridge repairs, bridge replacements, local program projects, state industrial access projects, safety projects, anything we do with aeronautics. None of that is on here. And those would be peppered in all 26 counties in Middle Tennessee. So I want to be clear about that. So that, when you first see that, there can be some anxiety about there's a lot of counties that don't have anything. So I want to explain to you, they're about half of our budget, roughly 55% of the 15 billion is these program areas, paving, bridges, keeping things in good repair. So the remaining is these large transportation projects that you're seeing up there. So I want to focus here on the statewide partnership program, and I want to be clear because I think it's important that we remember this slide as I talk about the next couple, is the second you put a 10-year list out on the street, there are winners and there are losers. And losers isn't the right term, but we have $30 billion in need across the state, and we just don't have enough funding to fund these projects. They're good projects. We're supportive of them. And our challenge is this exercise we went through with 10-year plan is to spend these dollars the most effective way that we can, optimize every dollar. And so that's what we did. And so this slide is very important. So in the fall last year, we sent out an advertisement for a statewide partnership program where we allowed and asked cities to partner with us to look at their projects and see if they could help fund some of them. And so part of let me go back right here, of the rubric for the algorithm for the 10-year plan, it was capacity, safety, connectivity, corridors. There were several things that we looked at, but one of them was funding availability. And so cities had an opportunity last September to submit projects to be a part of that. We had, I think the number is we had 275 applications for projects for well over $3 billion worth of total projects. So that'd be like someone saying, I'm gonna give you $5 towards a $100 project, example. So we had 275 projects. I think we had about $3 billion worth of projects, but we're going to continue to do this. It was a successful program, and this is something that I need y'all to keep in mind as we talk about these future slides is that we're going to have to partner to get some of these projects done. And so this is a conversation I'm having with every community that we're talking about projects is this could be city dollars, this could be state earmarks, this could be federal grants, federal earmarks. It could be your block grant dollars from the MPO is another thing to consider. So that there are options out there to be a part of that, but I want to be clear about that's what we'll be doing annually. So more to come on that, but I wanted to make that clear before I talk about these other projects. So one of those is Sam Ridley Parkway, the ramp work on exit 266. So I want to start by saying this is a fantastic project. It's very needed. We got the design done. There's no right of way. It is not funded for construction in the next 10 years. So it's a great project. And there's another piece to this I'm gonna talk more about in a second, is our public-private partnership piece, is the, I'll get in the weeds of that in a second, but I wanna pause and talk, and let y'all see this. The next project, which I know that y'all are gonna wanna talk about, is our Almaville Road.
Jay, go
divergent.
back one second.
Yes, ma'am.
But just so, because we have been talking to the public that this project was funded
Yes.
initially. And so with the new funding with the 10-year plan, these were taken off of the table.
Yes,
Okay.
they were. So one of the largest reasons for that is our public-private authorization is, you'll see more slides on this later, but we are very interested in the I-24 corridor and getting choice lanes installed between Murfreesboro and Nashville. And you'll see some slides on that later, but there'll be 2 lanes in each direction, and obviously a lot of ingress egress at the interchanges. And something we have a lot of anxiety about is building a project and then immediately ripping it out for our concessionaire that's managing these choice lanes for us. And so we need to understand more about what they want to do, and I'll talk about schedule and things like that later. So this interchange and the Almaville Road, the same thing, is that we need to slow down and understand what the concessionaire wants to do at these locations. These are both fantastic projects, and I think they'll be great projects and serve the public well, but we need to slow down and pause and understand what's going to happen on the whole corridor.
And Brian, myself, and you have already had this conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
But just so council and those that are watching on TV or those that are here can understand that we had a conversation with Jay to let him know our concerns about the diverging diamond at the Amaville Road because of the, all of the current traffic that we have there with the warehouses at South Park, the warehouses at Tridon, Pepsi now coming on board, 22,000 vehicles that are there daily. It's already a failing intersection, and we know that we're gonna need help and before 10 years. And so we have had that
Yes, ma'am.
discussion, and I think Jay understands the importance of where we are as a community with this interchange. But I know that we can, as the yearly things can be, as we can submit yearly, and we talked about that the town is willing to step up monetarily
Yes,
to help fund. Is there anything that you think TDOT can help us put a Band-Aid until we can get to some real relief that is permanent?
So, great question. Let me comment on your first statement, is that there's 2 things that need to happen for this project to move forward. The first is the understanding of the P3 footprint. That's the first thing. The second thing is addressing the funding. And so, as you mentioned, we're going to have the third quarter of this year, you should see an advertisement for the partnership program. I think this is a $20 to $25 million upgrade of this interchange. I think that if y'all could look at putting some money with us, it would move it up that algorithm and make it a successful project. Just want to be very transparent about that.
Well, and we had that discussion in
Yes,
the
ma'am.
meeting, that we felt like that we absolutely could do that. Obviously, Brian will have to have a discussion with council, but I think all of council knows that this is our top priority right now in
Yeah,
regards to.
so as far as something we could do to Band-Aid it, again, I want to understand what the P3 is going to do. I think that's really important. But the second part of that is, I mean, I can have our traffic office take a look and see if there's any operational improvements we can do. We can work with Charles and your engineer staff here to see what we can do to improve
And I
throughput
think
at
that
this
would be great,
interchange.
because, I mean, traffic is backing up onto the interstate, onto the sides of the interstate, as well as
when you get on Amable Road, it is just significantly backed up. So any help you all could give us with that would
Yes,
be
ma'am.
greatly appreciated.
Yes, ma'am.
One of
So,
the things that you talked about was understanding the P3.
yes,
And I
sir.
think that's probably pretty vague for the people who are watching. Could you spend a little bit more time?
Yeah,
On the slide.
Absolutely.
He's got it.
Oh, it's coming up, okay.
Now, let's go ahead and talk about it.
And
and I-
she always jumps ahead.
And this will allow me to end with good news, because I'm not
Just
giving
that
you
kind of
much of that
mind.
right now. So, choice lanes were authorized as part of the Transportation Modernization Act. So if anybody has been to Washington DC, Charlotte, Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, this is something that they're doing in these areas, and they're having a tremendous amount of success. And so what the department would do is they would enter into a financial agreement with a concessionaire, which is a new word for me, but it is a company that would sign a 50-year lease with the department where they would build infrastructure, they would manage the infrastructure. In return, they would charge a nominal fee to move ahead in traffic and choose to use that lane. So on that 50-year lease, when it ends, those assets would become part of the department. So I want to be clear about that. These are similar deals. If you look at what John Black is doing at the airport, he's doing this with lease agreements. With hangars, this is obviously that on a nuclear scale. And I want to be clear is that we would have a minimum of 2 lanes in each direction. Part of the law says that we can't take existing lanes and make them choice lanes. So we would continue to have 4 lanes in each direction. This would be in addition to that. And if you've been on these systems, they have cameras, scanners, there's transponders that people would have accounts to use them. I spent a lot of time in Texas last year looking at these, and the fees were nominal. They were from 80 cents to $3.50, depending on how far you're going, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about. So this is a new concept to Tennessee, and this is something due to the pain that is experienced on I-24. I think there would probably be some people that would be very interested in using this. I have a child that plays football and soccer. If I'm running late to get back home, I'd be glad to pay the fee to make it work. If I owned a small business and I could increase the number of service calls in a day by using this, I would absolutely use it. It'd be a revenue generator for our small businesses, so we're excited about that. So one thing the department has done, sorry, the clicker is taking on mind of its own, is we've done some work looking at traffic and potential revenue with a consultant, and have quickly identified, and I don't think y'all are surprised, that the I-24 corridor statewide is the best fit to be our first choice lane. And so what is happening right now is you can see this footprint that goes from Murfreesboro up to the inner loop in Nashville, is that we've begun to do studies on this, and we've done what's called a planning and environmental linkage, which basically means that to operate on the federal system, we have to do a NEPA clearance, environmental clearance, and so we've started that process. And so we're trying to get NEPA done so that we can enter into other phases of this contract. That'll take most of this year. And the thing we're still figuring out, in addition to what it's going to look like, is how it will be segmented out. Will we build from Rutherford County inbound? Will we start Nashville, build outbound? I don't know the answer to that. This is something I've never done. I'm an asphalt guy. This is the new world for me, but we've hired some very smart people that do these things. So I want to be transparent with you, as I don't have all the answers to this, but that is what a choice lane is. This is where a choice lane is, and this is when a choice lane is. So when I answer all these questions, so right now we've begun in 2024. We're doing industry outreach. We have a financial advisor, we have a technical advisor, and we have a legal advisor. Those are all on staff. We're working with that. We started NEPA, and we hope to, in early 2025, which this is hard to believe this is a fast schedule, but I promise it is is that we're going to put out a request for qualification. So that's when we would advertise for these large concessionaires to begin looking at this project, and we will give them limits. We will give them ideas on where we would want this to be, obviously on this corridor. But this will also allow for them to come back with us with innovative ideas on other things they could do to make money. So that process is taking place right now. There's a shortlisting in the spring of 2025. We would get the proposal in the summer of 25 and a selection, and we hope, and once the selection's made, you can see there's another season, spring 2026, that we hope to get to commercial close and start the construction and design at that point. So I know this is a slow process, but keep in mind, this is 30 miles of interstate we're building. This is probably a $2 billion investment. So it's a very, very large project. As I mentioned before, is that if we're not going to raise taxes and go into debt, this is what it looks like. So that's a great question, Mr. Cole, that you had, and I wanted you to understand that. So are there any other questions I can answer on the P3 front?
Jay, in essence, these would be toll lanes, correct?
So they'd be similar to toll lanes. We are not going to make people use them.
Right.
They'll have the choice to use them. The thing that I think it's important that people keep in mind is these lanes will be popular, and that people will enjoy using them. And as they use them, we are going to see traffic improve on our general purpose lane. So even if you choose not to use the lane, traffic will improve for you on your everyday commute for free.
Hypothetically, say you did use the lane, but you were not subscribed, how do they bust you for a traffic ticket?
So I am no expert in this, but I know there's a lot of cameras, and I would imagine it would be, I don't think it'll be a criminal
Be like
penalty.
a traffic
It
citation.
would be a civil
Yeah.
thing that if people would get something in the mail and if they ignored it, there'd probably be collections come after them.
I ask because I know somebody that's happened to.
Okay, you may know the answer to this then. I don't. Was it
It
you?
wasn't
Was it
me.
you?
No, it was not
Okay.
me.
He's asking for a friend.
Okay, hypothetically
I'm asking for a
speaking.
friend, yeah.
So, great question. And so, what's interesting is, I think we've met with 17 of these concessionaires, and most of them are outside of America, and I don't think there's any, volition or bad things going on there, but there is a model in Europe, in Israel, in Australia, where they like the idea of slow growth investments. This is almost like an annuity to them. And it's slow, steady growth, and they understand that the traffic in America, and they're doing this in European cities too, there's an opportunity to have slow, steady revenue for 50 years. And if you're a large fund, this is interesting. This would be an interesting part of being part of your portfolio. So, any other questions I can answer for y'all?
If the town and TDOT can work out something for Amable Road with us putting money forward,
Yes, ma'am.
how would that work into the timeline?
So, great question. So you can see the 2026 commercial close. This is Jay's opinion. There would be a time where they'll need to design things, get clearances, get permits. So I imagine construction would start a season after that. So my hope would be that if we can get this project funded, we can get it let soon and built soon,
Okay,
if we understand what the P3 wants to do.
right.
That's,
Okay.
I think, and please understand, I'm not speaking on behalf of Commissioner Ely here, Jay's opinion, but there may be an opportunity to do that.
Right.
Let me ask you a question and make sure I understood what you're telling me. I mean, we've got the Almaville Road project out there and the Sam Ridley project out there. But since they're looking at the P3 project, they don't want to do any of those projects so that they don't have to tear it back up again. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The last thing we want to do is build something everybody loves and then rip it out.
Oh, yes, I understand. I mean, that's something government's always accused of building something.
Well,
and
they
then
would have
tearing it
a
back
real
up.
good example if we did that. So, yeah,
Yeah.
we absolutely don't want to do that.
But
So-
sometimes you have near crisis spots, I think, and I guess that's what Mary Esther's saying. If we can put some money in there, can it be moved?
Yeah. So as I said, I think there's an opportunity to move it up, and I think if we understand what the footprint is and what they want to do through this area of I-24, there'd probably be an opportunity. So the last thing, I was gonna talk about some projects real fast, but if it's okay with y'all, let's talk about Lowry Street. I know this is something that's very important to you guys.
Jay, could I add, just before you move to that, because I think it's important for everybody to understand, when I introduced you, we talked about a partnership. And you guys have been great to work with. You give us information, you're keeping us on track as far as what the roads are doing. But jurisdictionally, we really don't have a choice here. That we don't have jurisdiction of the interstates and interchanges. That is TDOT and federal highway. So,
Yes.
I mean, I just say that so people understand that we're asking for help. We're searching for resolve to issues in a partnership relationship, but at the end of the day, the town of Smyrna makes no decisions on these projects.
Or Maury, or 102, or?
Yes, all those state routes are the state's responsibility from the standpoint of jurisdiction and what happens in
That,
one. So,
yes, sir, that's correct. We own and operate those.
yes.
So it's important for us to really watch our budget dollars going forward, because we may be able to chip in to help some of these projects come along a little sooner.
And this is not
Right.
something new. To defend Jay a little bit there, I know in my prior life, working in economic development, there was an interchange that was established over in Spring Hill to help with some of the GM stuff. A good friend of mine in economic development at that time said, they had to garner up $25-30 million out of the community to match the funds to make those things happen. So it's not something new. It's probably going to be something going forward that we're going to see more requests for because of the cost. We've seen that in our own roads, what it cost us to mill and repave, or to build an Enon Springs West like we did a few years ago. Those costs have gone up considerably, and that's what's driving some of
Yeah,
this stuff.
so to be real transparent with y'all, is the age of our infrastructure and inflation in the last 5 years, which I'm sure y'all are feeling the effects of things y'all want to do, have caught us. And the dollar, our transportation dollars, the buying power is eroded. And we've reached a point of critical mass where we're having to make some business decisions on focusing on state of good repair, and then taking what's left and leveraging and optimizing those dollars to the best we can for large transportation projects. So, Brian, thank you for saying that stuff. I really appreciate
Well,
it.
and one thing I want the public to know is we've tried to position ourselves so that we do have that money available and can partner with TDOT to do some of these projects. And I think Brian and staff have done a really good job of.
We did that on
put us
Sam
in
Ridley,
that.
actually.
Yeah, so.
Well,
yeah.
Kudos to our finance director back here and assistant town manager. We were able to accomplish AAA bond rating. That may be real important going forward for us
Absolutely.
for these type opportunities. So.
Very good. So, just very quickly, North Lowry, I know this project is very important to a lot of people. So we have at Sam Ridley and Lowry, some interchange modifications. You can see that there's going to be a new traffic signal. The peach color is what's there now and will be removed. And you can see that we're tightening in that partial clover leaf and putting an interchange and a signal there. And then on our next slide right here, you can see at Jefferson Street, we're doing the same thing. So I may have my slides backwards there.
There's your Jefferson
Yeah.
Pike on the far left.
Yeah, it's on the far left down there. I apologize. Both those projects are being developed concurrently. We're using our Highway Safety Improvement Program dollars. Those are federal dollars dedicated to projects that meet certain crash rate factors. This one does. And the good news I have for y'all is that this is on schedule, and both these projects will be in the October letting. We'll take bids for them in October, and construction will start about 6 weeks after that. So I know that I've had a lot of bad news to share with y'all. This is good news. And I'm excited to get that underway and get this project managed for y'all. So that's all I had to talk about tonight. Is I wanted to talk about the TMA, the 10-year plan. I wanted to talk about Sam Ridley, Almaville, this project and our public-private partnership. So I want to reiterate that Mayor Reed, Brian came up and met with us in early January. We had a fantastic conversation. I am very grateful for the partnership we have with y'all and the way we work together. And I want to go on record and say that I want Smyrna to thrive. I want it to do well and thrive. So thank y'all for the time to be here.
There's one project you didn't talk about that the town has been talking about even before I became mayor, is
I missed it.
that project right there.
Yeah, I apologize. I overlooked this slide. I did not. I did not. So we talked about that, and I apologize, Mayor. So Rocky Fork Road is a new interchange on I-24 that has been explored and talked about for some time. Forgive me, I don't know how long. I know it's been around for a while. And I think the first thing we need to keep in mind here is that we need to understand the P3 footprint before we talk about this anymore. The second thing we need to keep in mind is the funding. Interchanges on average run between $40 and $50 million now. So they create great access, but they're expensive. The last thing that I think it's important to talk about is when you're dealing with an urban footprint, when you have 4 lanes in each direction on the interstate, something that can be a challenge is traffic operations. And you get into weave movements, and that's where a car will be going and change lanes, and another car here will be coming over. One car's going to the left, one car's going to the right, and everybody's kind of jockeying to get on the interstate, and everybody's jockeying to get off the interstate. So if you've been on our inner loop in downtown Nashville by the Titan Stadium, we have several interchanges in a row, and it's incredibly dysfunctional. That is due to the phenomenon called weave movements. If you go on 386 Vietnam Vets between I-65 and Hendersonville, we have interchanges that are very close together. We have that challenge there. I have anxiety about the location of this due to the phenomenon of weave movements. I think that it could really impair interstate operations. It's something that we need to study and think about and understand prior to going forward with this project. This is similar. This is, I think, 2 miles between interchanges here. Is that what we're talking about, Mayor?
Right about.
And that's really inside the federal guidelines for those kinds of thresholds. It's too tight. And we get into this strange where the federal guidelines talk about urban and rural. They don't talk about suburban or these kind of situations. So it gets in a little bit of gray area, but there definitely is traffic issues when you do this. City of Clarksville has approached us about an interchange, a new exit 6, which is between a current exit 4 and exit 8. So it's a very kind of situation there. I've had this exact same conversation with them. I have anxiety about traffic operations and this kind of thing. So we need to really, really understand them. And the suggestion that I made to the city of Clarksville was that we may need to take a unique approach to this situation. Instead of building a full-blown interchange, we may need to look at doing collector-distributor roads where you have roads that would go from Sam Ridley to Almaville that are behind a wall, and they would go up an interchange and then turn around and come back. And so we don't have a bridge at Rocky Fork, but it's almost like there's a road system outside of the interstate. And that's, I think, the thing we need to study to make this successful. But as that goes, we need to understand the footprint, our footprint for the P3.
For it to move forward, does it need to be put in the P3 footprint?
So that's a great question, Mayor, that I don't know the answer to. I think it's something that should be looked at and considered.
Okay.
So it'd be a unique kind of transportation asset that we don't see much. It'd be the first one in Tennessee if we did it. I'll say it that way.
Years ago, when we first started looking at the Rocky Fork interchange there, what we understood that the government was looking for was ROI, return on investment, on what was happening there. What was it going to bring to the tax base and such as
Right.
that? And I know it's been, 15 years ago, they changed and started looking at traffic movement through.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, I completely understand it because I-24 is the place I love to hate, you know?
Yes, sir.
But, you know, also understanding that, I've always understood that one of the hangups on this interchange was being able to safely move the traffic away from the interstate after they got off. And, you know, and that brings up the question of the Clovercroft
Oh, regional-
thoroughfare, what do you call it? I don't know what you
Oh,
call
regional.
it.
Rocky Fork, the Rocky Fork Road.
Yeah, Rocky Fork to, or Enid Springs
Enid Springs
to.
Road West all the way
All the way to
Williamson
McEwen.
County. to
Yeah.
McEwen.
I understand what you're saying. Yes, sir.
I mean, is that something that you see is going to have to materialize as
So,
another condition of this interchange being there?
So I want to start by saying this is that I cannot pretend to speak on behalf of the federal government. So
Okay.
we Federal Highway Administration is an oversight group that we work with, and they have certain routes, National Highway System routes, that they have a more robust level of oversight than normal roads. So the interstate system is very dear to them. We have to go to them to get approvals. We have a stewardship and oversight agreement that defines our relationship with them on everything from buying property to NEPA, to environmental permits, to construction, and how it's inspected and how change orders are done. One of the things that is in there is something called interchange access requests. We call it an IAR because we love a good acronym. And we have to go to them to get permission to modify an interchange on the interstate. And in that process, and I can't speak to what was done before, I really don't know when you're talking about ROI. But we have to make a strong safety and operations case for the functionality of that. And then what else has to happen is that interchange has to connect to state routes. It has to be a state route connector, it has to be a network connector, and that's one of their requirements as well. So, Mr. Cole, we would have to go through some kind of clearance with Federal Highway in those regards, and we would have to look at the project. I don't know enough about this project to speak intimately about it.
Well, I mean, you know, just not necessarily talking to you, but talking to the public. I mean, I think that Brian and Mary Esther have worked very diligently in working on securing the right-of-ways for that so that we at least don't get caught being overdeveloped before the road could go through there.
Right.
Along with neighboring mayors, along with all the neighboring
Absolutely,
mayors, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, in our discussion, when we saw Jay at the 1st of January, we had discussion about this, and we had discussion about the access roads, and so I just wanted y'all to know that that discussion is taking place. Other questions for Jay? I know when the commissioner came on, there were lots of projects that were hanging out there that people had hopes that were gonna get funded, that there just wasn't money. There just wasn't money to fund it.
Yes,
And I
ma'am.
think this 10-year plan has actually shown what money is available and what projects can actually get done in that time frame. You said winners and losers, and I would agree. Do we like the fact that our projects were not put in there? No. Do we understand? Yeah. But we now need to figure out how to move those projects forward. And I appreciate you all being willing to sit down and work with us. And
Yes, ma'am.
hopefully, moving forward, we are going to be able to do that. Jay is always open to sit down and talk with us and answer questions, whether it's at the MPO meetings or whether it's one-on-one. So we appreciate all that he's done to help us. So,
Thank you, ma'am.
questions for Jay or Hunter?
Thank
We
you, guys.
appreciate
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good evening. Thank you.
Jay, Hunter, thank y'all. We appreciate it.
Okay, we will move into our meeting.
And our items for discussion, our first item is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an extension agreement with G&W Diesel. I think this one has been pulled.
It's been taken care of, yes.
Okay, so this one item has been taken care of, and we'll move on to item 2, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute the Event Center annual linen service contract with Universal Linen. Hey, Nate?
Good afternoon, guys. So this is the extension agreement for Universal. So we agreed to the terms of the pricing and everything based off the 2021. It's going to extend until 2025. Just like to get it added to the agenda.
Questions for Nate on this? Okay, seeing none, we will put that on the agenda. And Nate, are you going to be ready for Easter brunch?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, that's later on in our
We've got-
presentation, but priorities here.
Yeah, we've got 250 so far, so
How many?
250 so far.
250, great. Okay, so what you're saying is if you've not made your reservation, you need to get your reservation in.
Yeah, we're going to do hopefully 600 this year.
Okay, great. Okay, we'll move on to item 3, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a mowing contract for park properties. Hey, Mike.
Yes, ma'am. Mayor, council, we opened bids on February the 15th for the mowing, and we're still evaluating the bids. We'll have a recommendation here soon. We're going through the client list and also equipment, some of those things for the low bidders, and then we'll talk to Brian and Jeff and have a recommendation for the council meeting.
Questions for Mike on this?
Mayor, I'd like to also kind of inject, during the time between the workshop and tonight, the workshop deadline for the agenda, we did receive a copy of the renewal for the non-park properties. So if it's okay with Brian and council, we will have that on the council agenda for the council meeting as well.
Any objections? You good? Okay, okay.
Mayor,
Sounds good.
before you move on to the next one, on one, you said it's already been taken care of. Did you mean that it's already been signed? Is that what
Yes, it's already-
happened?
It was under the limits to come to the council, so it's just a renewal, so they needed to move forward with that.
Gotcha.
Okay, then we will move on to item 4, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Minnesota Children's Museum for the rental of the Thomas and Friends Explore the Rails exhibit for the Smyrna Outdoor Adventure Center.
Yes, ma'am. As you well know, we try to get ahead of these exhibits and rent them far out. Staff has coordinated the rental of Thomas and Friends exhibit for the fall, winter of 2024. Exhibit will be on display from approximately September 21st through January the 5th. And we have been working with Jennings Jones, this will be the 3rd year now, and they're sponsoring that particular exhibit for $20,000. This is the 3rd year, that'll be the 3rd payment, so we give them one of the exhibits. So they'll be sending us a check this summer for that. And the exhibit focuses on science, technology, engineering, and math, which is STEM. You can see the target audience is obviously children, if it's Thomas and Friends, and then families and school groups. It also will be very popular for the fall and in the holidays in the winter.
Questions for Mike on this?
So the exhibit is, the amount is 45, and then we're getting the 20,000 grant to go towards that
Yeah,
amount.
it will
Okay.
offset that, and
Okay.
basically, they sponsor that. Yeah.
Okay.
It was originally 60,000.
Yeah.
And they gave us a $15,000 discount, so, which is a good thing. But that's a pretty popular exhibit, so it'd be a challenge to fit in there, but we're gonna do it.
Okay.
Other questions? Okay, then we'll move on to item 5, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Kimberly Horn to conduct a planning study as part of the Safe Streets for All grant. Hey, Tom.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Yes, as you know, we went out to RFQ and selected Kimberly Horn as our top-ranked respondent on the Safe Streets for All planning grant. They submitted a contract, $342,900. We do have a grant of $300,000, and our portion is $72,000, so $372,000 total for the project, so it came in their proposal came in just under budget on that.
Other questions?
This will
Comments?
include what?
What they're going to do is kind of look at the town overall and kind of determine some places where we need to improve some sidewalks, maybe add some street lighting, do some roadway improvements to be able to provide access and between lower income areas and government facilities, schools, parks, commercial areas, things like that, just to
Will
provide
they
more
come in and
equity.
have public meetings?
We'll probably have some public engagement meetings as well, and certainly keep everybody here up to date on the progress of it. And this will be a document that we use to go out and get implementation grants. So then we'll be able to use this document to request funding for actually installing sidewalk or street lighting, things like that.
Other questions? Okay, then we'll move on to item 6, which is approval of the terms of an authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with YA Engineering Services to perform an investigation of the storm pipe concrete infiltration.
Yes, as you may know, we had an issue at the intersection of Enos Springs and Hazelwood that we had to do some pressure concrete injection. In the process, we discovered that some concrete got infiltrated into the storm pipe. In order to do a full investigation to determine exactly how that concrete got in there, we had hired a forensic engineering company, YA Engineering Services, to come in and brought them in. Jason King, when he was here, brought them in to be able to do the investigation, and I'd asked them for an engagement letter so we could formally get that approved and pay them for their services.
Questions for Tom on this?
So once they determine how it entered in there, will they also be responsible for helping us to get it out? Or will we do that in-house, or how does that work?
We had done some of that in-house as far as go ahead and removing it, because about 3/4 of the pipe or more was filled, and so we did have to go ahead and have Rollins Concrete Company came in and helped us to remove some of the pipe, replace the pipe, and clean some of the pipe out as well. So it should be functioning properly now.
So it's just really a matter of determining how it got in there in the first place at this
Yes.
point?
Yeah, it's just a determination of did it come in from the ground, get pumped in from the ground, or is it washed off from the job site into an inlet structure and got in there
Okay.
that way.
Other questions? Okay, we will move on to item 7, which is approval of the Public Works Department to submit a special event permit application to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to use Jefferson Springs Recreation Area for the 16th Annual Boat Day.
Yes, this is our annual boat day event, and this year is kind of special. We've been in contact with City of Murfreesboro. They do a boat day as well, but sometimes they do it a little bit later in the summer, and the part of Stones River that they go to is sometimes dried out. They can't do a boat day, so we've decided to couple with them and kind of make a larger event. So we invited them with their canoes and kayaks and to advertise and bring more people up in Jefferson Pike. So it's kind of the first year that we're doing a project with them for boat day, and hope to make it an even better event.
Questions for Tom on boat day? Okay, we'll move on to item 8, which is approval of the terms of an authorization for the mayor to execute a contract amendment with the Kimberly Horn for additional services as part of the NEPA investigation for the Old Nashville Highway Sidewalk Project.
So Kimberly Horn is doing the NEPA evaluation on Old Nashville Highway sidewalk project to rip out and replace a lot of the older sidewalk and provide ADA compliance with it. When they initially submitted the NEPA documents, TDOT came back and said that you need to do some additional services, some ecology and archaeology studies as well. So they came back with a proposal to provide those additional services to meet the TDOT requirements for the NEPA investigation.
Questions for Tom on the NEPA? Okay, we'll move on to item 9, which is approval of the terms of an authorization for the mayor to execute change order number 3 with Brown Builders for the Tridon Bridge Replacement Project.
And Mayor and Council, this change order is for the extra milling and paving that we did on Tridon Drive. The funds for this were paid by Foundry Commercial as part of their impact. Instead of them coming in at a later date and doing theirs while we were still on construction, they just went on and put the funds to us to include in our project. So it's completely funded by them.
Questions for Charles on this one? Okay, then we'll move on to item 10, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute the proposal with MMS for the annual fats, oils, and grease program.
Evening, Mayor, Council. Mike's a little under weather, so you got the B team tonight. This is contract with Monitor Management System. This annual contract, they help us maintain and inspect all the grease traps around the system. So it helps us mitigate grease getting into the sewer system and helps it operate a little bit more efficiently.
Okay, questions on fats, oils, and grease?
Just want to know why they chose Mark.
Exactly.
What's up with that? How did you get that role tonight? Fats, oils, and grease.
Well, it does go downhill. So.
I don't think that's fat, oil, and grease. It's a different byproduct.
Yes.
Is this also the company that empties the bins that we have at the parks and stuff?
No,
Or is
sir.
that separate?
No, sir. Completely different company.
Okay.
Okay, then we'll move on to item 11, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with construction of Phase 2 of the North Lowry Water Line Project.
Yes, ma'am. This is the second half of the Lowry Street water line job. This will complete the fire line loop upgrade that will protect the eastern side of the Lowry Street corridor. Hawkins and Price won this job at $2.9 million. We've vetted them, a good contractor. We don't see any reason why they couldn't do a good job for us on this project.
Questions on this one? Okay, then we'll move on to item 12, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute the fiscal year 25 budget funding request for the commuter bus services for the WeGo Public Transit.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, this is an ongoing contract that we have with the WeGo. This funds the bus service that goes through Murfreesboro, Smyrna, Laverne, and then into the Nashville market. Runs several times a day, so it's one of those ongoing that we need to continue to fund.
Questions for Brian on the WeGo Transit for back and forth to Nashville? Okay, then we'll move on to item 13, which is consideration and authorization of a list of items to be auctioned through online surplus sale with Gov Deals. Hey, Rex.
Mayor, Council, attached is a list of surplus items that need to be sold at auction. Includes town vehicles that have been removed from service and equipment no longer needed. Town seeks permission to conduct an online auction to sell these surplus items. The auction will be advertised in the Murfreesboro Post, on our website, and Channel 3. All the surplus items will be sold through Gov Deals, an online auction company. And we're asking for approval to conduct this sale.
Questions for Rex on our sale? Okay, we'll add that to the agenda. Move on to item 14, which is consideration of a resolution to request refunds on unclaimed property held by the state of Tennessee.
Mayor, this is something we do every year. Passing this resolution allows the town to ask the state of Tennessee for a refund. The property is made up of outstanding checks or credit balances on closed utility accounts and vendor accounts that were first held by the town and secondly by the state of Tennessee. In the past, we have received $116,000 from these refunds. We recommend that you endorse this resolution.
Questions for Rex on getting refunds? We like that.
I like that.
Okay, we'll move on to item 15, which is consideration of an ordinance relative to the amendment of the approved PUD on tax map 28E, Group A, parcel 17.00, requested by Marion Masad. The property requested to be rezoned contains 8/10 of an acre and is located at 540 Rock Springs Road, and this is a second reading. Kevin?
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is a request. You have approved this on first reading. It is on Rock Springs Road, about 800 feet west of the intersection with Highland Avenue. Land use plan would support mixed residential development in this area. Surrounding zoning is a mix of R4 and PRD, which is the Harsh Branch Village PRD. Sewer is not currently available to this property, but staff is unaware of any issues with the current septic system. If that ever occurs, sewer would have to be extended by the owner from Harsh Branch Village. The existing approved PUD was approved in 2004. does allow for a single-family residence or a fabric shop selling sewing supplies and offering sewing classes. That's been operated there for almost the 20-year timeframe since it was approved. This requested amendment was to add kind of retail sales of clothing and bedding to the allowed list of uses. That Planning Commission did change that to clothing and linens, just to be sure that we weren't talking about mattresses and things like that, so that would not be allowed. I did attach, there was a site plan that was approved when the original building was expanded back in 2016. That's just there for reference. The developer has not indicated making any changes to the site at this time, other than adding this proposed use. So they would have to come back and, at minimum, have a site plan or potentially a PUD amendment if they do want to change anything beyond what's already there. The Planning Commission did recommend approval of this amendment, 4 for, 1 against. Staff would also recommend approval.
Mark or Tim, anything you want to add?
I think Kevin touched on it pretty well. When it was first proposed, it did include bedding, which left it open in our interpretation to, what would keep it from turning into a mattress store or whatever. And so we wanted to protect that and keep it kind of to the use that it is. And so we had him change that to the word linens so that it would not include any kind of mattress sales.
Okay. Any questions for Mark, Tim, or Kevin? Okay, we'll put that on the agenda. Our next few items are all about our board appointments, so if you will bear with me as I read these. If there is a board that you would like to put in an application for, we would encourage you to do so. When I read these, I'm also going to read the number of applicants that we've also gotten for that board as of right now. Item 16 is appointment of one member to the Beer Board to serve a 3-year term ending in 2027. We've had 2 applicants. Item 17, appointment of 2 members to the Planning Commission to serve a 3-year term ending in 2027. We've had 8 applicants. Item 18 is appointment of 1 member to the Board of Zoning Appeals to serve a 3-year term ending in 2027. We've had 5 applicants. Item 19 is appointment of 1 citizen member and 1 member of the Planning Commission to serve on the Historic Zoning Commission for a 5-year term ending in 2029. We've had 3 applicants. Item 20 is appointment of 3 members to serve a 6-year term ending in 2030 on the Towns Industrial Development Board. We've had 5 applicants. Item 21 is appointment of two members to the Project Assistance Board to serve a 3-year term ending in 2027. We've had 2 applicants. Item 22 is appointment of 2 members to serve a 3-year term ending in 2027 and 1 member to serve an unexpired term ending in 2025 for the Sister City Committee, and we've had 4 applicants. Item 23 is appointment of 2 members to the Parks Advisory Board to serve a 3-year term ending in 2027, and we've had 8 applicants. Item 24 is appointment of 1 member to the Packaged Liquor Board to serve a 3-year term ending in 2027, and we've had 1 applicant. Item 25 is appointment of 1 member to the Smyrna Housing Authority to serve a 5-year term ending in 2029, and we've had 4 applicants. Item 26 is appointment of 3 members to the Stormwater Advisory Committee to serve a 3-year term ending in 2027. We've had 1 applicant. Item 27, appointment of 3 members of the Smyrna Charity Assistance Board to serve a 3-year term ending in 2027, as well as 1 representative of the Town Council to serve a 1-year term ending in 2025. We've had 3 applicants. Item 28 is appointment of 3 members to the Coos Memorial Maintenance and Funding Subcommittee to serve a 3-year term ending in 2027. We've had 1 applicant. Item 29 is appointment of 1 member to the Sister City Funding Subcommittee to serve a 3-year term ending in 2027, as well as 1 Town Council representative to serve a 2-year term ending in 2026. We've had 0 applicants. Item 30 is appointment of 2 members to the Board of Adjustment and Appeals to serve a 3-year term ending in 2027. We've had 2 applicants. And item 31 is consideration of the reappointment of Smyrna Representative Paul Lamb to serve a 5-year term ending in 2029 on the Smyrna Rutherford County Airport Authority Board of Commissioners. So, as you can see, for some boards, we've had quite a few applications. For others, we've not had as many, and for some, we still need some. So, if you are interested in serving on a board, we highly encourage you to get involved in the community and put in an application, and you can do that through our town website. Anything under other tonight? Okay. Nate, anything tonight? Rex? Kevin? Mark?
No, ma'am.
Charles? Christie? Good. You're good? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Mike?
I do.
Mike picked up your slack.
Break the streak.
Yeah.
I did want to tell you, you probably, I know you know because the park board meeting, and Brian knows, it's in our council updates, but we're not far from opening up a small mountain bike trail out at Sharp Springs Park, and it's something new for us. We basically run that trail between the agriculture fields out there. It's about a 2.5 mile trail, really for families and kind of novice riders like myself. I'll probably just walk it, to be honest with you. But we're excited about that, so we'll let Brian know when we're gonna actually open that trail up. But the staff's been working hard over the course of a year or two, just in the wintertime to get that open. So we're kind of excited for something new. And it kind of fits into the idea out at Sharp Springs Park, disc golf, hiking, walking, that type of thing. So I just want to let you guys know about it.
Mike, is it a hard surface trail?
No, sir, it's dirt and some rock, and the areas where it does have one crossing over the greenway, so we've got rock about 50 feet each way to clean out the tires.
True mountain bike.
It
ride.
is, yeah, and it's, I would just say it's baby steps to get going, but I do, been to some of these, and a lot of them end up having pump tracks and other things around the entrances and exits and that type of thing. So we kind of wanted to get something that had low impact. And Corps of Engineers, they liked, when you build things, they like it when you don't take out trees. And that was the route. We followed the deer routes where the trees didn't have to be taken out.
So probably in the next 30 days?
Ma'am?
It'll probably be open in the next 30 days?
Yes, ma'am. We plan maybe mid-March, depends on how it goes next week or two.
We'll do a ribbon cutting, and let everybody know when he gets ready. We'll get that information to you.
Yeah. All right. Thank y'all.
Thanks. Todd? Chief? Heather? Amber?
No, ma'am.
Brian D?
Yes, ma'am, Mayor and Council, I've got a couple things I'd like to share with you tonight. Unfortunately, condolences for Christy Worrell, who's here with us. She lost her brother-in-law here about a week ago, and our condolences to you and your family. Speaking on Christy, I want to share, I received a very nice note from somebody most of us know here in town, Joel Laird, one of our State Farm agents. And he just wanted to let me know what a pleasure, and it had been amazing working with Christy on his building renovations downtown. And said she cares about her job and she cares about Smyrna. I loved it when he said, let's see here, she communicates clearly, she holds standards, but is also understanding. So firm but fair. So Christy, we appreciate the job you're doing for us and the new role that you play for us. The other thing I wanted to share with you, Chief Irvin shared this with me. Jennifer Britton from Smyrna High School kind of got in a pinch the other day with a competition with her criminal justice skills team. And at the last minute, realized that they had to observe dispatch as part of their competition. And she reached out, and we were able to get their young folks in, and some of our folks in dispatch worked with them, Ms. Fultz and some of her staff, and got them prepared so when they went to competition, they'd do well. And Claire Fultz, we appreciate you taking time to share with our young folks, and hopefully we'll find some, job opportunities there for some of those young people in dispatch or the police department, those kind of things. I wanted to share with you something that happened a couple weeks ago again with our police department that we've had it on Facebook already, but I just felt like it was worth bringing to the council meeting tonight in case some of our citizens had not heard about this. But a couple of weeks ago, Nissan came into the office to file a report on a possible stolen vehicle from the assembly plant. And while they were filing the report with Officer Hayden, he called back to dispatch to put a bolo out on the vehicle, and they were also saying it was being pinged through the vehicle's GPS system in Texas. Well, our dispatchers got on the phone and called the town in Texas, talked to the police department, and sure enough, they were able to direct them to this car. Not only did we recover the Nissan vehicle, we also recovered, I think, another 25 stolen vehicles, and this was an international theft ring that was taking cars to Texas, putting them in, not rail cars, but the shipping containers, and shipping them overseas. So, good work by our police department, and I want to recognize Officer Justin Hayden, our communications personnel Claire Fultz, telecommunicator Brian Arnott, Michaela Shannon, and Carmen Arnold. We're all involved in that. So very good work by our police department. And I will tell you, this is not on my report and wasn't out here for photos or anything today, but also this morning, Mike reported, unfortunately, to my office that we had some pretty substantial vandalism at Sharp Springs Park. The restrooms at Shelter A were basically destroyed. Somebody decided to go in and take some hammers and just beat the porcelain fixtures off the walls, and they used some black spray paint to put some things that were very offensive to any of us. Those two gentlemen are in apprehension today because of some flock cameras, and we were able to get their license plate. So quick work by our police department, great work by our parks department to get it reported and get the police report filed, and we were able to locate these gentlemen, and they're going to be spending a little time with us. I'm sure. So, great work.
Other than just meanness, was there any reasoning behind just flat out meanness?
Just meanness. Destructive.
Were
And
they
these were
young?
not teenagers.
They were not teenagers?
These were young adults. They broke through the gate, went in after hours, broke the doors, and went in, pulled the doors off the stalls. Like I said, beat the porcelain fixtures to the ground. Just crazy, crazy. But because of our police department and the work they're doing lately, they did a great job in apprehending those gentlemen.
Glad those cameras, the flock cameras were there.
Yep. The next thing I have is some of the council and myself and some staff were able to attend the Business at its Best Rutherford Chambers luncheon. And we wanted to say congratulations. Jeff Hollingshead was recognized as Business Person of the Year. Ben Weatherford, some of us know, he was awarded the Pinnacle Award. And then Andy Womack was recognized as the Business Legend. And you can see the attendees. We had Mark Atkins, Todd Spearman, Councilwoman Raquel Peebles, Amber, there's Steve Sullivan, and Sierra was with us. I was there, but I'd gotten pulled away talking to somebody, I think, so we appreciate everybody.
HG was yapping to somebody too, wasn't
Yeah, I
he?
think HG, you were there, weren't you?
I was paying homage
Paying homage.
to Miss
Oh.
Patsy Brown.
Okay,
Oh,
all right.
yes.
But we had a good group. It was a nice luncheon, and we appreciate all those award winners and the work they do in our community. Next, I have Mapleview Cemetery, the spring cleanup. We're just finishing up through tomorrow, March the 1st. So if you've not been out there to get your stuff or any of those kind of things, and then to also let our citizens know after March the 1st, their flower arrangements, those kind of things can go back up and be updated if they choose to do so. Smyrna Parks and Rec has a softball clinic coming up at Cedarstone Park Field 1, February 28th, March the 6th, and March the 13th, between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. There is no charge for this. If you're interested in registering for the free softball clinic, please call the Parks and Rec Department or reach out to them via email, and that number is 615-459-9773. And we do have this on the internet running on Facebook on our pages. So believe it or not, I know it's cold outside today, and we're ready for spring, and it's just around the corner, and right after that, it's pool time. Smyrna Parks and Recreation has seasonal and part-time positions available. We are already getting several applications in. In fact, we've made job offers on several of those positions, but if you have an interest of working this summer with Parks and Rec at the pool, splash pad, or at the gatehouse, please reach out to www.governmentjobs.com/career/town of Smyrna. and you can get an application in. And again, that is on the website, so you won't have to remember that email
Say
address.
that 3 times
Yeah.
fast.
I couldn't say it once fast, but it is out there and it is posted, so please come join us for the summer months.
Mike, do we know when the pools and the splash pads are going to open?
Yeah, the splash pad will open a Tuesday before Memorial Day weekend. The pool will open Memorial Day weekend, Saturday, Memorial Day weekend.
Sounds good.
Mike, HG's retired, and he said that he wanted to be one of the lifeguards at the splash pad
No,
this
I want,
year.
I want to be head lifeguard.
At the splash pad.
At the splash
You can
pad.
just walk down there.
That's right.
Yeah,
I ride my bike.
ride your bike.
Received his application.
Oh, you have? Good.
It's being scrutinized as we speak. We're gonna do a full background check on that one.
Encourage the background check. He's
Yeah.
gonna come
It was
via
highly
the new
encouraged.
mountain bike trail,
Yes,
but he said he needed training wheels on his bike.
For sure.
yeah.
Keep it going, guys.
Be nice, right?
Be kind, be kind.
Glow Disc Golf Tournament. This sounds like a lot of fun, but I actually had the chance to play in a golf tournament one time at night, so I'm not sure about the glow-in-the-dark balls and those kind of things, and that's what they'll be doing with the disc. But it's Saturday, March the 2nd, from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Sharp Springs Natural Area. It's $10 for youth between 5 and 15, and $15 for young adults 16 years and older. Let's see, if an adult must accompany participants under the age of 18. Registration is suggested through Community Pass. So again, that's out on the Facebook page. If you have any interest, that's this Saturday. And I think the weather is predicted to be a little warmer this weekend, so maybe it'll be nice to be out there. Next, I have Buckle Up Smyrna. This is something we're very proud of. Several of our fire department personnel have gone through the professional training and been designated qualified to install car seats for our younger, the child seats. And we want to invite everybody to come out. It's a free event. It's a safety event on Saturday, March the 16th at Smyrna Fire Station 5. I've got to go through my head and remember which one's,
I was about to ask.
yeah,
Which one
I
is that?
think that's the one on Rock Springs. That is Rock Springs Fire Department. Yeah, Rock Springs Fire Department, right there behind Stonecrest. But it says on here for all the new parents and the expecting parents, but I will tell you, I sat next to my friend Wayne today at Rotary, and he reminded me as a grandparent, he's got 2 car seats in the back of his car. So it is open to any and all to come out and learn the proper way to install a car seat and take care of those precious commodities of our children. So that's on Saturday, March the 16th from 9 to 1 p.m. All you gotta do is stop by the Rock Springs Fire Department, Station 5. All are welcome. We've had several people call in and question what's going on over at the airport, so we wanted to share with everyone there on our par 3 golf course. You see some construction on runway 119 at Smyrna Airport. This is the first phase. It includes drainage work and grading of the safety area. Improvements continue for the Tennessee's busiest general aviation airport here in Smyrna. They are doing that work now, and they'll be doing some work on the runway after this is completed. And for those of you that love the par 3 course, it will be open. When this work is completed, we'll be rerouting the cart path, and I think there's a couple of changes on a couple of tee boxes that will happen, but that's all part of this construction. And unfortunately, we have had to shut the par 3 down during this work time. So, but we're hoping to get that open pretty quick. Kids' spring break camp. I've already seen a lot of people asking what's the summer camps and spring camps going to be available for the children. Here's one for you to know about in the Smyrna Parks and Recreation Spring Break Camp. The registration for spring break camp at Cedar Stone Community Park is now open. Contact Heather.Sanders at Sanderson at townofsmyrna.org, or you can call their office for more information there at SOAC. Congratulations to our newest Smyrna Police Department officers, Benjamin Gobin, Ryan McGuire, and Matthew Gold, on their recent pinning ceremony. And also we wanted to say congratulations to 2 of our officers that were promoted to the rank of corporal, one being Ty Jackson and the other being Ryan Baggett. We're very proud of these young men. And we're really happy to get them on board. If some of you may remember Ryan. Ryan's kind of come through the system. He was at our Parks Department, worked with the aquatic summer events with the pools and stuff. Then he came up and worked in our Courts Department for a little while, and then he's moved over and completed his training as a police officer. So we're happy to have these new officers on the street, and congratulations to our 2 promotions. As always, I finish my comments with one thing, and that's love where you live. Folks, we still struggle with litter in our community, and each one of us can make an impact by doing the right thing and securing any kind of garbage that's in the back of our vehicles, trucks especially, those kind of things. Secure those things down, and then, please just don't throw stuff out the window. Take the time to take it home, or take it to the next time you stop and fill up your car or truck and put it in the receptacles. It's not just about the beautification of our community, but I know talking with Tom back here in our stormwater department, this debris gets into our streams and those kind of things. They clog up some of the drains. They cause flooding and those type issues for us in our community, and maybe even in your yard when the trash collects like that. So love where you live. Try to keep Smyrna pretty and do your part. Mayor and council, that's all I have this evening.
Questions for Brian? Jeff or Yale?
Nothing from me.
Raquel?
All right, I have 2 slides. All right, the United Way of Rutherford and Cannon Counties Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, otherwise called VITA. The program is now available in Smyrna from February the 1st through April 13th at the Boys and Girls Club in Smyrna. VITA offers free in-person appointments to individuals and families who earned less than $76,000 in 2023. To learn more, visit www.yourlocaluw.org/VITA. I'm sorry, I'm still laughing.
You laughing at mine.
All right, and the next slide. Officer Clemens and Smallwood represented the Smyrna Police Department at the career fair benefiting the Leadership Academy and M.L. King Jr. Scholarship Fund organization recently held at Patterson Park, and both officers were pleased to share information about their career path in law enforcement and connect with the community. I'd like to thank them for participating. Thank you, Chief, for making that happen. And then I'd like to congratulate all of the new officers and the officers on their promotions, and condolences to Christy. And also, Christy, thank you for all your good work that you're doing, and the letter that you received. Thank you for representing Smyrna well. And that's all I have.
HG?
Recently, the Tennessee State Museum had a display of the Smyrna Rosenwald. Actually, it was just the Rosenwald Parks in general, but our Parks and Recreation Department sent some display material down there for them.
It was a school. You said the park, well, the park said it, but it's Rosenwald School.
Right?
You said park.
No, I said our Parks Department sent information on the Rosenwald School to the Tennessee State Museum. And mostly I think this is, we moved from the display at Rosenwald Park, is that right, Mike?
Yes, sir.
And they were gladly received. Okay. On everybody's desk tonight, you'll find a sticker, says 68%. And this is going into the Always Shop logo, because 68% of every dollar you spend in Smyrna stays in Smyrna. So there are some stickers on the counter over there. If anybody would like one, take it, stick it on your car, and show that you are a 68%er and support the Smyrna sales tax. Okay, other than that, be kind. It's you, Tim.
Most of those stickers you see, HG, are about marathons. So does that kind of say that you ran a 68% of the marathon?
If you want to interpret it that way, that is entirely up to you.
6.8. He probably did 6.8.
68%.
No, 6.8.
6.6.
Probably did 0.68.
Afraid my marathon days are gone.
I think I have a slide.
There we go. Congratulations to Cedar Grove Elementary, Smyrna Primary, Stewart's Creek Elementary, Stewartsboro Elementary, Thurman Francis Arts Academy, and all the Rutherford County schools that earned the reward status. To learn more about this, you can visit Rutherford County Schools at their website, rcsschools.net. And with awards like this, it's no wonder folks want to move here and be part of the county and part of Smyrna. On a personal note, many of you know we lost a great grandson on the 15th of this month, Lewis Johnston. I want to take the time to thank everybody on behalf of myself and Donna for the phone calls, the texts, the emails, that came from you guys up here, the staff out there, and many people in the part of town. We got a phone call, several phone calls, like, what can we bring you, food or whatnot? I'm like, hey, we're good. But I got to tell you, Mary Esther shows up at my house with soup, Brian with lasagna, and they were both enjoyed. Miss Gwynn, Jeanette Gwynn, a real treasure to our community. She came to my office, we shared a tear, several hugs. She gave us this wonderful basket full of food and her famous banana bread and cookies, and I mean, that makes you feel good, really. And she also provided dinner for us one night. Mark, man, you've been my friend forever. You've always had my back. There were times it was really tough to talk. And I reached out to Mark and I said, I need you. I need you to communicate for me right now because I'm either too tired to talk or I don't think I can get through it. And you did that. For that, I appreciate y'all. Thank you, everyone.
Gary?
I think I've got a slide as well. Staying on the lines of education, I'd like to congratulate the Smyrna Elementary, Smyrna Primary, Stewart's Creek Elementary, Stewart's Creek Middle, Stewartsboro Elementary, and all the Rutherford County schools that earned the TBA STEM grant. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math, and the program is to help develop your children or young children and through curiosity and critical thinking skills. So congratulations to all those schools for receiving that grant. Just a couple of things. I know we mentioned several things about the police department tonight. You guys do an awesome job, and I just want to thank you, all those that work with you guys. And we are fortunate to have you, and we appreciate all you do. So thank you. Christy, so sorry about your loss as well. So you guys are in our thoughts and prayers.
Only a couple of things. One of the ladies that worked for many years, that may even still be working as an EA at Smyrna Middle, had a death in the family this week. The Midgley family, just want to pray for them. And Christy, obviously your loss. Seems like the world we live in. It seems like it's every week we're burying somebody we know these days. So condolences for that. Tim, our prayers have been with you through all of this. I can't imagine, and just know that we love you and we're sorry you had to go through this, especially your daughter, your son. I do have a slide. This was actually a kind of a fun groundbreaking. They're not always as fun, but this one was Mayor Reed and several of us attended a groundbreaking ceremony at the Tennessee Army National Guard property. It's called the Property and Fiscal Warehouse. Major General Warner Ross, who's a brigadier general for the Tennessee National Guard, gave his remarks, and we signaled the groundbreaking that has been 15 years in the making. They've been working on this since 2009. Mayor Reed, Councilman Cole, myself, Brian Hercules are all in attendance. He shared a couple of other upcoming things. I won't share all of it because I think some of it is not public knowledge yet. But one of the things he said was that Smyrna is the epicenter for what the Air National Guard is doing in Tennessee. And he said that multiple times. And I'm going to be honest, the expansions that he's talking about and the future use of the base is exciting because it's kind of, in my mind, it signals the base returning to a functioning base in some regards, which is what we hope it would do. So congratulations to the Army National Guard, and quite a few service members will be spending time in Smyrna now because of some of the things they're doing. So that's all I've got.
I think when the base closed in the 70s, people were so afraid the town was going to go away. And I think so many would be proud today to see what's taking place at the base. So, and I will say, he sure was excited.
Yeah.
Mark?
I think there'll be a slide up there. Yeah. So Steve just mentioned the National Guard and their epicenter. We had the privilege of going over to D.R. Horton's headquarters this past week, to help them ribbon cut what they call their sort of epicenter for the entire region. They located in Smyrna, and I asked them why Smyrna. He said when they looked at a heat map of where they wanted to be, this was dead center. So congratulations to DR. They also made a statement there for many people that may not know this. It's a wonderful facility.
Amazing.
Amazing facility. And they're set up that they can do other functions there. So if you're looking for a place to hold training or anything like that, something like that, that you need space for 100 people or better, they have outdoor kitchen set up, they have training video, all that is there. And they're willing to do that. So just contact D.R. Horton there on 7 Oaks Boulevard.
I was coveting that outdoor kitchen.
Isn't
quite a
it
bit.
amazing? Yeah.
It really is nice.
So those that were there with me were the mayor here and myself, Steve, Councilman Sullivan, Brian Hercules, our town manager, Assistant Town Manager Todd Spearman. We were all there, and I hope I didn't miss anybody. I think everybody was named. A couple other things, Christy, to your loss of your brother-in-law. We at the town of Smyrna, you will learn, are a family here. And we always want to express our condolences to somebody in our group when they lose a family member or what have you. So I think you've heard it from most everybody, and we feel that with you a little bit. So our condolences. To the police officers who were pinned this week, congratulations to them. I want to say thank you to Jeffrey L. Jeffrey L. spent a week of his life or so, 2 weeks of his life, up in Nashville doing Smyrna's good work. And Jeff, we just appreciate the time that you invest on the legal side of our city and what you were able to do and accomplish there. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr.
Not just that, he emerged victorious, which is
Yes.
always a good
Yes.
thing.
And, you know, I had this on my list, and Tim's touched on it as well as Steve. But Tim, glad to have you back here. You know, we know you missed, and it's a hard time for you and your family, a tragedy in your family. And we're just glad to have you back in the fold. But I'll tell you this, just because something happens to somebody or they lose a loved one doesn't mean you stop praying for them. It means you continue those prayers, because they're really having to struggle through some of the thoughts and memories and their losses. And so to you and your family, I've not stopped, and I will continue to do that for you guys. And to me, that's a focal point of what we do. You know, I mentioned in the opening prayer before we started, it seems to me there's a little bit of, I don't know, discourse or whatever going on in our town. And I want to remind everybody just to remember and focus on what's more important. And there are many, many more things that are more important than what you may see on Facebook or read in the newspapers. And I want everybody to be aware of that. And just remember civility, old friendships, to me, they never should die. And I want to make sure that continues. So stay focused. And that's all I have.
A couple of slides tonight. Recently, the town of Smyrna and Smyrna Parks and Recreation Department honored the 2023 Lifetime Service Award winners, League Volunteers of the Year, Parent and Coach of the Year, Young Leaders and Business of the Year for the 34th Annual Volunteer of the Year Banquet. I will tell you, this is one of the events I look forward to each year, because it's an opportunity for us to recognize people that give back to our community an unbelievable amount of hours, and they do it because of the love of the sport and the love of helping others. And our Young Leader Award and Scholarship winner was Sherilyn Morales. The 2023 Lifetime Service Award winner was Mark Dye, and the Business of the Year was Smyrna Skate Center. So congratulations to all those recipients. The Town of Smyrna currently has board and advisory committees open. We talked about that. If you'd like to serve on one of our boards, we encourage you to visit our town webpage and apply. Nate, we talked a little bit about the Smyrna Event Center is accepting reservations for the Easter buffet. The buffet is on Sunday, March 31st. First seating is from 10:30 to 12:30. Second seating is from 1:30 to 3:30. Meal cost is $28.95 for adults, and children ages 6 to 12 are $16.95, and children 5 and under are free. There is only reservations, so we will not take walk-ups, and you can call the event center to make your reservations, and I promise you will not be disappointed in the meal. We are asking for you to join us for the annual Smyrna Fire and Police Department Egg Hunt, sponsored by the Smyrna Natural Gas Department. It'll be Saturday, March 23rd at 1 p.m. at Lee Victory Recreation Park. Ages 1 to 12 are welcome to join in the fun. The Easter Bunny will be on site for pictures. The rain date will be Saturday, March 30th at 1 p.m. I will tell you, if you get there at 10 after 1, it will all be gone. There is nothing left, and it looks like a vacuum cleaner sucked everything up because they get after it fast. So be early. Equitable Property Company purchased 44 acres to develop Stewart's Landing, which is going to be a mixed-use district in Smyrna. Its secured retailers include Wawa, Jonathan's Grill, Starbucks, and some others that we cannot announce as of yet. It'll be located at the corner of Sam Ridley Parkway and Highway 41. That's the property right beside the YMCA and in front of Motlow. The master plan for Stewart's Landing is designed around a pedestrian-focused street grid. Stewart's Landing will feature vibrant streetscapes, jewel box retail, community green space, and a walking trail surrounding the development. We talked about the tenants that have already signed on, but there'll also be a national grocer and many others. The groundbreaking is slated for this March, and Phase 1 of Stewart's Landing is set to deliver in the first quarter of 2025. And for those of you that don't know, Stewart's Landing, the reason for the name is because of the air base. So there's going to be a lot of history that people will be able to learn about through the development about the air base. We're thrilled to announce our Captain Jeff Coos Memorial Scholarship. We encourage those that are high school seniors this year that live inside the city limits of Smyrna or are currently enrolled in a high school here that's physically located in Smyrna to go on the website and apply. The application deadline is March the 15th of this year, so it is quickly approaching. Christy, condolences to you and your family. Tim, it was really difficult. We wanted to do so much, but it was kind of hard to know what to do. So,
Well, you guys did everything that I needed.
Well, good.
You did.
Well, we thought about you a lot. We talked about you a lot. We reached out when we thought was appropriate, and we just want you all to know that we've been thinking about you.
Thank you.
Council, is there anything else? If nothing else, we're adjourned.
Okey dokey.
Me too.
Hey, Mayor Esther, I purposely didn't do it.